For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hope your work week is off to a good start. Had a good first hour today. Talked a little bit of LSU football, top of things. Talked some SEC baseball. Hit baseball and football with Glenn West, and then I complained about the Cubs. But we'll get things back on the rails here in hour number 2. LSU and UNO will go at it at the box tonight at 6:30. I'll preview that in 15 minutes. And Sharief Ishaq talking Saints in 30 minutes from right now. I want to get back to LSU football and talk about some of the things that we saw out on the practice field. I was just going through my Instagram reels, and the video of me saying that LSU had a significant issue covering folks, I got 171,000 views in terms of reels. That's been something that I've talked about for 2 years straight now, that I didn't feel like LSU had the talent and the ability to cover in the secondary. And I get a lot of things really wrong. I don't know that I've gotten this really wrong. I don't think LSU has covered good enough over the last 2 years. And that's got to change. You cannot win if you can't defend the pass in this era of college football. It was crazy because I watched LSU play USC and watched LSU play against South Carolina and saw some of those early season games. And then Ole Miss came to Tiger Stadium. And though LSU did win that game and did enough to get it done, I was struck by how well Ole Miss was able to cover in that game until the very end when Nussmeier went down the field and won it. And I think Ole Miss was good enough to be a playoff team last year. Now, they choked on a chicken bone against Kentucky and couldn't beat Florida. But coverage is a big, big deal. And when LSU's had great teams, they've had great DBs. That's not telling you anything you don't already know. So there's got to be an overhaul. And LSU has gone to the transfer portal ranks, and they got Mansoor Delane, and they got Jakeem Jackson, and they go to the high school ranks and get DJ Pickett, and you retain Ashton Stamps, and PJ Woodland grows up a year, and you've got Tamarcus Cooley who's come in, and you feel like you've added some talent, and now it's about putting it all together. And when I watched out at practice today, I saw some guys making some plays on the football. I watched PJ Woodland make a really nice breakup on a ball down the left sideline. I watched 2 different times DJ Pickett make plays on the ball, including against a streaking Berrien Brown. I looked at the starting secondary, and more often than not, Ashton Stamps and Mansoor Delane are out there on the boundaries. Tamarcus Cooley's out there playing at a safety spot. Deshaun Spears is a reserve, a second team as a safety, but a guy that's got a lot of talent. DJ Pickett's running with the 2s. Jakeem Jackson's running with the 2s. But it's going to be a collective effort, and they've got to find a little bit more productivity than they've had previously at that spot. And Mansoor Delane figures to be a huge part of that. Now, he's done a lot over his time at Virginia Tech. He's played some safety. He's played some nickel. He's played some boundary corner. And when they got him, I kind of looked at his role in the secondary as not immediately this is where he goes, more so of, okay, let's see what else they add, and then that'll probably dictate where he plays. And when they brought in Tamarcus Cooley, who's very likely a safety and a nickel piece for him, I think that more so moved Mansoor Delane out to corner, and that's where I think you're going to see him a good bit. We talked to Mansoor Delane today, and if you were listening 15 minutes ago when I was chatting with Glenn West, you would have heard me say, like, talking to the transfers we talked to today, talking to Jack Pyburn, talking to Bauer Sharp, talking with Mansoor Delane, talking to Berry and Brown, it sounded like veterans that had been brought over in free agency at the professional level. And for some of you, you'll be cynical about that and be like, oh, that's exactly what it is. They got a huge NIL chest, and that's why they're here, and they're mercenary, and they'll be gone after 8 months. And that's fine. I'm just telling you what the interaction was like. And it was some mature guys who have been through some grinds at different levels and have different things to prove, but that said all the right things today and really feel like they're assimilating pretty well into this LSU football culture. We'll play some sound here from Mansoor Delane, who talked about being a part of this whole defensive back group and how they're trying to make each other better.
C-Ray's big on, like, everybody's going to eat, like, everybody's going to do good. So, like I said, I think we all just push each other and really just, this is a lot of competition. So it's like, at the end of the day, we compete with ourselves, but we compete with each other too, but it makes everyone better at the end of the day. So there's no spots. There's no, like, you just started. One day you could be a 4, one day you could be a 1. So really just going out there being the best version of yourself every day.
That's true. Like, they're moving guys up and down rotation and depth chart in the secondary, and you've seen that. But when you go out there and you're in one-on-ones, like, there is no first, second, or third team. It's just next man up and go. And you're seeing a lot of different guys stand out. I mean, today, like, Michael Turner made some plays today. Now, Michael Turner weighs 160 pounds. Like, he's still tiny out there. But he made some plays on the football today, as did a lot of guys. And that was really encouraging for me to see. Like, I'm looking for LSU's DBs to pop a little bit in practice. I realize when we're out there that almost everything that those guys do is geared toward the offense. The red zone drills, the 7-on-7, the one-on-ones, those are geared towards the offense. In one-on-ones covered, like, you don't have any help. You don't have a safety. You can't play any leverage towards the field. You don't have any help. You got to cover the entire field. That's hard to do. In 7-on-7, you don't have a pass rush. So you got to just go cover. And you can't force a quick throw or flush the quarterback out and cut the field in half. Like, it's tougher on defense to not have a pass rush. Like, y'all know all this kind of stuff. But that's part of what makes the offense hum in practice, and at times can be something that clouds our judgment as those who are there and kind of reporting the facts back. But still, I'd like to see the guys make some plays on the ball. And DJ Pickett made some plays on the ball today in practice. Berry and Brown, as I mentioned, was going on a 9 route, on a go route, and DJ Pickett ran stride for stride with him and made a play on it. It was a fantastic effort. And we asked Mansoor Delane today what he thought about DJ Pickett. And before we played the sound, I want to kind of relay what his body language did. His eyes got kind of big, and he kind of sat up when he talked about it. And, like, you can hear it in his voice a little bit. He enjoyed, as a senior, talking about a guy who's been on a college campus for less than 3 months, and he feels like could be a star. So this is Mansoor Delane on DJ Pickett.
DJ, I don't want to put too much out there, but, he can. He's definitely, whatever that 5-star plus stuff is, that's true. So, you know what I'm saying? So he's definitely a freak of nature when it comes to size and athletic ability, and everything else is going to come down the road. But it lives up as advertised, for sure.
That's high praise from a dude that's been in college for 3 years. Okay, and when I watch DJ Pickett, and look, I'm not a scout. Okay, I'm not a football coach. I'm not a personnel evaluator, but you can do the obvious stuff out there, right? Like, DJ Pickett is all of 6'4". He can run, and he can jump, and he can make plays on the ball. And all of those things are massive check marks for him. And that's what Mansoor Delane is talking about right there. The one thing on the other side of the ledger here is that he is still skinny. Like, he is very thin. And LSU right now does not have a 6'4", 219-pound senior wide receiver who can out-physical him. Like Nick Anderson is close to that kind of, but he's still not out there as much, and he's still taking some reps off. Like, I'm not saying that every team's got a guy that looks like Julio Jones or Mike Evans. Like, that's obviously, those are the freaks. Those are the potential NFL Hall of Famers that have come through the SEC. But that's something that I think could give DJ Pickett some issues with that physicality. And LSU does. Barian Brown doesn't offer that. Chris Hilton doesn't offer that. Aaron Anderson doesn't offer that. Xavier Thomas doesn't offer that. Even Kylan Billiard, who's 6'3", doesn't offer that completely. He hasn't really played. Like, LSU just doesn't have the dude who can just line up across from DJ Pickett and hit him in the face like that. And that's my concern. I don't have, and again, it's not like a big concern. I'm just showing the other side of the coin. When I talk about DJ Pickett, like, I have no concerns about his height and his range. I have no concerns about his speed. I have no concerns about his ability to play the ball. I have no concerns about his ability to put on weight and become a star. But today, right now, March 18th, his first spring on campus, I think he's thin, and I don't know how you could assess his ability to play the physicality of that position right now. Now, they're going to put weight on him. He's going to get bigger. But today, when I heard Mansoor Delane,
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
and watched him talk about DJ Pickett, you saw it. You're like, oh, like he knows this guy's going to be a star. And that's what LSU has to get back to. And quite frankly, was always going to get back to the second Corey Raymond threw that ugly blue and orange shirt in the trash can and put on the purple and gold again. Like once that happened, you knew that the talent level was going to rise back up. And it is. Pickett's here. We'll see what the transfers they brought in can do. Aiden Anding shows up in the summer, and then you continue to fill the pipeline. And I think that Corey Raymond will do that. And I think that LSU's defensive backs have a chance to be significantly improved this year with a talent upgrade, with Corey Raymond working with them. I'm hopeful that LSU's better on the back end than they've been the last two seasons. If you're looking for our LSU football content, you can always find it Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast. Hunt on LSU is all football all the time, 365 days a year. So go check that out on YouTube or wherever you find your sound. Matt's got a practice report up at LouisianaSports.net right now. So if you got some time and would like to read through that, Matt goes through the reps, like what the plays were 11 on 11, like the whole thing, and it is free. I know a lot of practice reports are behind paywalls or tough to access. LouisianaSports.net, not tough to access, no paywalls. Go to the website. The practice report's right there on the top. Go check it out. Matt did a great job with that earlier this afternoon. So check that out on LouisianaSports.net. When we come back, LSU and UNO. What do I expect to see tonight at the box? I'll tell you next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Every new Genesis purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. 10 years, 100,000 miles. That's incredible. Think about that. That's the Genesis difference. When I say Genesis of Baton Rouge, think luxury. And when I think luxury, you shouldn't think, I can't afford that. You don't know until you go ask. Start the process at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Every car that's on the lot there, Airline and Piku, is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. From the sedans all the way up through the SUVs. Go check it out, see what you might like. Let one of their brand ambassadors get you behind the wheel. You'll see the difference. I'm guessing a large number of you that are listening to me right now have never gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis. Change that. See the difference. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Hunt Palmer, lover of LSU, Shreveport, and mayonnaise on hot dogs. The Hunt Palmer Show.
little bit of a surprise today. I knew that UNO lost their head coach 3 weeks before the season started. Blake Dean, who'd been there for 9 years, done a really good job, had left to go get out of baseball and get a job in, I think, the contracting world. But I knew that. And I knew that on opening day, UNO went to something called West Georgia and lost 18-3. I knew that. And that was the last I had kept up with UNO baseball. So I fully expected this morning when I wrote my game preview to look up UNO's record and see them at 2-13 and a team ERA of 20.
You're telling me, huh, you're telling me you've never heard of the Wolves of West Georgia?
West Georgia Wolves, never heard of them.
Wow.
Not one time. Yeah, I mean, I've called Auburn West Georgia before, but I've never heard of West Georgia. I'm curious, look this up. How far between the campuses of West Georgia University in Carrollton and Auburn, Alabama? You look that up while I figure this out. But I bet they're pretty close because Auburn is on the state line of Georgia. But I figured they'd just be terrible based on I knew they were awful on opening day. Turns out New Orleans is 11-7 overall, and they've already won 5 league games. They're 5-4 in conference play. They swept Incarnate Word in San Antonio over the weekend. So UNO playing better than I would have anticipated, knowing that they lost 18-3 on opening day to West Georgia, as Beck, he could have made that up, says it's the Wolves. So
they are the Wolves. I looked it up.
Better team than I would have imagined.
An hour and a half from Auburn.
There you go. Perfect. I'm surprised Auburn hadn't played the Wolves a little bit more frequently. So it's been a nice go since the 18-3 beatdown for UNO, who will come to the box and play LSU's on a 15-game winning streak. I'm a little bit more concerned with LSU than I am UNO, quite frankly, but I will give one UNO privateer his flowers because Bryce Callaway has had a sensational early go this season. He's hitting .408 over 18 games with 8 home runs. He's also 6'4" and 235 pounds, so if LSU is not careful, Bryce Callaway can hurt them. That's a big dude who can clearly hit the ball a long way. I would like to steer clear of Bryce Callaway in this game. But it's really about what LSU does. And so I'm interested at third base. Braswell played all 3 games over the weekend against left-handed starters. We'll see if Reeves gets an at-bat here. And I'm curious if they want to continue to catch Luis Hernandez in every game. I'm okay with him catching 3 games against Missouri. Does he need a few days off after that to let Caden Brady go back there and catch a little bit in this game? Or do you plan to get Aaron Beatty in there if you can get a lead in the 5th or 6th to give Hernandez the last couple of innings off? I'm just curious about that. Luis Hernandez is not going to catch 4 games a week. That's not realistic. So I'm interested to see if Aaron Beatty can get in there and get a start, or at least get half the game to allow Hernandez to rest just a little bit. Those are obviously 2 of the platoon positions. Right field is the other. Jake Brown has been phenomenal. Josh Pearson has been great, and Ethan Fry is off to a fantastic start. I don't expect to see Ashton Larson in the game, but I'm always curious how the other 3 might see time, and quite frankly, it's probably going to be dependent on what hand the pitcher throws with and what the UNO bullpen may look like in terms of availability today. I'll tell you this, that UNO has pitched a ton of dudes in their midweek game. They had a midweek game 2 weeks ago where they threw 9 pitchers. So you're not going to see anyone from UNO go out today and throw 105 pitches over 6 2/3. You're going to see UNO go to the bullpen a ton. And that basically means, I guess, that Jay Johnson can go to any starting lineup that he wants, because if you've got, hypothetically, your DH or your right fielder in the 7 hole, they could not hit until the 3rd inning, and UNO may be on their 3rd pitcher. So I don't think that Jay Johnson is going to set the lineup according to a starting pitcher. I think he's going to do it based on his feel and who he wants to give at bats to, with the understanding that you can always make a substitution, which we know that LSU will do. As far as LSU's pitching in the game tonight, I can't imagine DJ Primo's going to pitch because he pitched all 3 games over the weekend. I would be stunned if William Schmidt did not pitch. We talked about this last week, and everyone took that quote that Jay Johnson gave to Jacob and T-Bob on Off the Bench and said that William Schmidt's days of pitching on a Tuesday are over for the rest of his career. And I came back and said, that just means he's not going to be a midweek starter. He's not going to go 65 pitches like he did earlier because they want to use him on the weekend. But we know on Saturday, he came in, faced 6 hitters, walked 3 of them, gave up a homer. It was not a good go on Saturday. I think he needs to get back on the horse. I think that William Schmidt will pitch today. I would start him and throw him 2 innings in this game and certainly save a lot of his energy and bullets for the Texas Longhorns coming up this weekend. I think that there's a pretty good chance that Jaden Newt gets 6 to 8 outs in this game. He did not pitch over the weekend. Jacob Meyer did not pitch over the weekend either. So those 2 guys, I think, are likely to get the ball. And then Kason Evans did throw a season-high 44 pitches on Saturday. He's had Sunday and Monday off. That's 2 days. I think if LSU has a lead in the 9th, that Kason Evans is probably going to get the baseball if it's a tight game. If it's a blowout, then that's just up to Nate Yeske, Jay Johnson, and how Kason Evans feels after Saturday's outing, whether or not they want to send him out there to quote-unquote keep him sharp, or whether they want to give him the week off before you go to play a really tough series in Austin. So my guess is on pitching plans, Schmidt throws 2 innings, Newt throws 2 or 3 innings. Then you start to get into Cooper Williams, who hasn't pitched, Meyer, who hasn't pitched, and then potentially Kason Evans could go. I think Maverick Rizzi is okay to go as well, even though he's only had 1 day off. They could theoretically sit him down. I'm curious about all that because this is a staff that's so deep. There are so many guys that you figured you would count on. You were not going to see, more often than not, Griffin Herring go 50 pitches on a Tuesday last year. You knew you had to use him. And so I don't know that guy exists on this staff. They're still trying to get guys multiple innings on this staff and still trying to get multiple guys looks on this staff to get ready for the weekend. So I think that both teams are probably going to throw 6 or 7 pitchers in this game, and that's just the way that midweek games are generally going to go. LSU's going to need to swing the bats because UNO's got some guys that have done that to this point. I mentioned Bryce Callaway at 408, Colin Loops at 380, Brian Lariga is at 370, and they've hit some home runs this year. They've got, let me count that one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys in this lineup that have multiple home runs, and so that's not always going to be the case for UNO. They are in conference play. They do have bigger fish to fry than LSU on the weekend to make sure that their seeding is proper and they've got a chance to try to qualify for the NCAA tournament. For LSU, you just got to avoid some of these landmines. Inevitably, you're likely to lose one of these games. That just tends to happen. Maneri had a back-to-back years where he didn't lose any midweek games, and that was incredible. But more often than not, over the course of the season, you're going to lose one. LSU needs to try to avoid that as much as possible, and they'll get UNO coming into the box this evening. The last thing on keys was just to play clean defensively. I'm going to usually point to that. If you look at LSU defensively over the course of the season, Tanner Reeves has kicked a couple balls in left. Milam had 1 throwing error. Dickinson had a throwing error back on Sunday. Catching's been a little bit of an issue, but in the grand scheme of things, LSU has pitched it great. Has caught it great. They played defense really, really, really well, and that's manifested itself in a large part in the stats. The pitching errors have hurt. They've thrown some pickoff throws away, threw a swinging bunt away on opening weekend, but they've been pretty good defensively, and that's why they're fielding 980. It helps when your starting shortstop has only been charged with 1 error on the entire season, and he's been responsible in terms of putouts and assists for, let me look at that number, that is 77 putouts and assists. He's made 1 error. He's fielding 987. That's really good stuff from Stephen Milam. So I want to, the way you get beat in these games is you issue free passes and you give up the big 3-run homer. That's the way you get beat in these games. LSU needs to try to avoid that, and for the most part, they have done it. So LSU and UNO on Tuesday evening tonight, 6:30 from the box. You want to listen to it. Eagle 98.1 is our sister station. They're the flagship of LSU athletics, and they'll have the pregame show at 6 o'clock between Chris Blair and Doug Thompson, and first pitch will be a little bit after 6:30. All right, let's take a timeout. When we come back, Sharief Ishaq on the Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal to work with. He texted me. He'll be at the box tonight watching UNO and LSU. Jonathan spent his college days on the baseball field over at UNO, and he's phenomenal on the insurance side of things now as a professional. He and his team are really, really technically apt. They win their business because of their expertise from a technical side on the insurance front. There are a lot of folks in insurance who want to give you a cold call, say, hey, I've got this carrier. I can save you 22%. Just let me take a look at it. And that's really their only play. And maybe they can, but they probably can't because the market is terrible. But the best way to go about it is to make sure that you're properly covered. You're going to think the insurance is expensive either way because no one loves cutting a check for insurance. But what you hate more is cutting that check for insurance than having a loss that's not covered because you tried to cut corners. That's what the Highland Insurance Group guards against. So give them a call. Check them out online at highlandig.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at highlandig.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. Hopefully Hunt remembered to bring his laptop charger. Nah, there's no chance.
More bad news from Pelicans land. Trey Murphy tore his labrum. Like the most exciting player.
That's actually good
on the
news,
team,
Hunt.
so they can tank.
Yeah, they need to keep losing. Lose as many as possible.
He was really coming to his own though. Like he could be an all-star.
No, he will. He will be. That's there's like 10 games left. It's okay. We don't need him. Lose the rest of the games and get the best possible lottery slot.
Tank for Cooper.
Tank for whoever.
Crap out
apparently,
for Cooper.
Apparently Cooper may be going back to Duke. Who knows?
F up for Flag.
That's a good word. Did you just come up with all those at the top of your head?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I mean, not that impressive.
It's pretty impressive. That's one of the most impressive things I've seen you do.
Wow. 3 years or something like that, and that's as impressive as it's been. Amazing stuff. I could probably come up with some more.
Yeah?
Flop for Flag.
That was good. That was easy. That was the easiest one, really.
Crushed for Cooper.
Flounder for Flag.
Yeah, Flounder, either one. Sharief, you got any cool alliterative puns about the Pelicans getting Cooper Flag?
Play like poop for Coop.
Okay.
That's the best
Seems
one.
like that's not one that you came up with, but I like it a lot. It seems like that's been emanating around New Orleans. What's your reaction to the news that Trey Murphy is significantly injured?
It's on par for the season, honestly. I mean, it happens 49, 50 seconds into the game. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I mean, they have 13 games left in the season, and I'm thinking, you're 18 and 50 going into that game. I understand some of these players want to play. Some of them might have some stuff in their contracts. They want to like hit their bonuses, but I'm like, man, why are we playing these players again in the lost season? Just go ahead and like tank without tanking. I won't be surprised if you see like less Zion, less CJ McCollum. At this point, it's done. It was done for a long time. Now you just got to hope that you can finish in the bottom three so you can have a better chance at getting Cooper at this point. I mean, there's like no reason to be playing your guys every single game. I mean, it's pointless. You are snake bitten and you're just jinxed. You're cursed. Why are you throwing your players out there to get hurt?
Do you think that they will finish in the bottom three?
I'm looking at I need to look at their schedule. They're going to lose both games in Minnesota. I think it looks like they got Charlotte and the Nets might be their best bet to win games, but this is no guarantee.
The Brooklyn Fighting Tigers
left
of LSU.
Yeah, those guys are going to torch. I mean, my guy Cam is going to light them up. 3-10 probably is what I have them. Maybe 2-11 to finish the season, because I bet you when you get to that final 6-7 games, you're not going to see Zion. Watch, they're going to shut him down.
As they should. Just try to protect him. If you can trade him, that's great. If he can come back healthy next year, that's fine too. But we'll see how that all goes. That has been your Pelicans report here. So let's talk about the Saints. I want to talk about the three aging defenders on this team. I want to talk about Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, and Cam Jordan. We know that Tyrann and Cam Jordan have restructured their deals, taking a quote-unquote pay cut there, and that's helping the Saints get under the cap. But those three guys, how much is left in the tank?
I think I'm going to say, the guy that I just does not tail off to me is Demario Davis. Yeah. I feel like he continues to put in some good work and continues to grind. And man, he's for the most part, stays healthy and gets out there on the field and makes plays. But you can start to see Father Time catching up to him, too. I'm going to say, look, those guys are, DeMario and Cam are 35, 36. They're going to both be 36 when the season is going on. I say 1 year. Tyron might be able to get 2 years out of him. I just think for sure the other two guys have 1 good year. Look, and the new defensive staff under Brandon Staley might be able to re-energize, Cam Jordan and get him a few more sacks. And maybe they push him to the finish line in a good way. I think he was like on his podcast, Off the Edge, he was excited to work with Bo Davis, excited to work with Brandon Staley. I think he threw a little bit of shade at Todd Grantham, calling him Guy McGuy. He wasn't a big fan of Todd Grantham, and not many people were apparently. So I think that he's I think he's going to be in a good spot. But I think this is the final ride for Cam Jordan in his NFL career. I just think after this season he'll be 36. I just don't see many more years for him.
His playing time reduced a lot early in the season, and then it ramped up late in the season. Where do you think they settle this coming year? Obviously, Chase Young is now back. Carl Granderson under contract. I don't know what you expect, if anything, from Isaiah Foskey, and we don't know what the Saints are going to do in the draft. But how do you feel like Cam Jordan's snap count role is going to look?
Oh, I failed to mention Brian Young as well, being still on the staff.
Yeah,
he's a big fan of Brian. He's a huge fan of Brian Young, and Brian put him out there for more snaps. I think whenever Brian put him out there for more snaps, the production went up. Naturally, he's playing more, his production is going to go up more. I think that he knows that he is the second guy off the bench. He knows that like it's Carl and Chase, then him. I mean, he even said it on Twitter. It's Carl, Chase, then me. I just think that's the way he looks at it. He knows how it works now. Still getting paid a lot of money, and I know he wants to be on the field more. But look, they're running a lot of 3-4 under Brandon Staley. And they have to figure it out with Cam Jordan and the rest of the defensive linemen. But I understand. I think he knows his role for the season. He knows what he's going to have to do. So, but at least he still has Brian Young and Bo Davis there, and I think that excites him a lot more than Todd Grantham.
How did you feel Tyron's year went last year? I feel like there are some mixed reviews on it. I mean, I think he's lost a step and he's a functional player. I don't think he was great last year, and I think a lot of people think he did play really well. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the cliche roller coaster ride. It really was. I mean, he did lose a little bit of a step. I mean, look, I truly think that the whole Dennis Allen saga probably wore on everyone. Everyone was frustrated with it. I think that like they knew it was a lost season. They lost. They got to 2-7. I mean, they lost 7 straight games, Hunt. And I think that took a toll on those veteran players. And it's like, hey, naturally you're a human being and your mind goes to different places whenever you start losing. And I think like, I don't want to say they didn't care, but I think that like at some point in time you're 2-7. You're like, man, where are we going here? I'm playing hard for what we're 2-17 that isn't even going to stick the playoffs. So, I just think his season was indicative of that record. I mean, it was super up and then super down. And then, like, whenever Rizzy took over, it was a little bit better. But it's just, I mean, he's an aging player in a secondary in a game where things are just moving faster. And, I mean, he's just older. I mean, that's just what it is.
How big a deal is it for Kellen Moore to have those 3 guys in his locker room in his first year as a head coach when he's essentially their same age?
That is kind of funny. I laugh at his age and those players' ages, but yeah, you still want to have those those leaders who've been in the community, who've been on this team, who've done like a lot of positive things. So they may have lost step, but they're still good players, like on and off the field, and you need to have that. They have that in Philadelphia, and I think he understands, like, we need to have that here in New Orleans. We can't just dump all of our veteran players and just have a bunch of young guys running wild. It may work, but, like, at least let me have these veterans this year for one more year and to set a good standard in the locker room and make sure that they, take care of those young guys built for the future, just so they can, be there for those young guys. It's fine. It's fine. I've told you, Hunt, this season, and my gut just feels like another 6-win season, 5-6 win season, and that's okay. I told you that it's going to be a couple-year process, and I'm fine with it. So I think that like, as long as you have these veterans here teaching the guys, the younger guys, put them in place for the future, it's a good thing.
How do you think the Saints fan base feels about that?
It's just realization. They have to realize that's what they're dealing with. I mean, that's, you wanted a new coach, you wanted a soft rebuild or pretty much a rebuild, and you're getting that. I mean, you're getting it slowly but surely. It's, not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a couple years. So you're going to have to just deal with it for the next season, maybe 2 seasons, in order to build your team.
What do you make of Derek Carr's silence this offseason?
A lot of people didn't like what I tweeted about when I tweeted last week or 2 weeks ago how all the captains and other players were front and center in a Super Bowl and he wasn't. I took a little heat for it. I'm like, I'm fine. I mean, they were all here. He wasn't. I mean, and rightfully so. You should take some heat for it. I mean, even if he's rehabbing, so is Taysom Hill. So are other players. They're all rehabbing. They're all dealing with things, but they're still front and center during the Super Bowl. And you know what they say, Hunt? Silence is deafening. It's just not a good thing. I mean, I think it had probably a lot to do with those whole talks of him taking a cut and them saying, I'm not taking a cut. So I guess there was a little back and forth between the organization and Derek. And look,
when was the last time there was a disconnect this big between the Saints quarterback and the fan base? Like Aaron Brooks?
I don't even know if it was that bad with Aaron, to be honest with you. I mean, the fans, yes. At least he showed up and played. I mean, he played. He led them to their first ever playoff win.
He did.
I mean, it's just like the disconnect. I have not seen a disconnect like this in a very, 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 very long time. It might have. It might have been under Mike Ditka. But those quarterbacks were not good. I mean, just for a guy making $40 million a year, there shouldn't be this big of a disconnect.
That's an odd deal, and I don't know if there's any. There is a way to mend it. You go out there and start 7-0, nobody will care at all. But I just don't think that's going to happen, and I just think that's got a chance to get a little bit toxic. So that's our look at the Saints. What can LSU fans expect from the UNO Privateers tonight? They're having a decent start even without their head coach.
I'm glad you asked me about baseball because I was going to ask you about baseball. So
okay.
We'll start from my end. Look, they went out last week on the road and swept UIW.
Yep.
And put up some runs. They can hit. There's one thing that UNO could do is hit. One thing they're struggling to do is pitch, and I think you know that very well from the LSU side of things. They're struggling to pitch. So. It's going to be fun. It'd be a fun game. I think that, Coach Norris has his team hitting. I just want to see, what they can do on the mound to get the team like LSU that's, playing some pretty good guerrilla ball and to start the SEC play. So, it's one of those games where LSU should win double digits. No problem. It should be no problem. But, UNO's UNO. I mean, they usually do fairly well in conference play. It's whenever they get to the tournament when they kind of struggle a bit because they don't have the pitching.
Yeah, I mean, LSU's rolling offensively. I think they'll score a ton of runs tonight. But UNO has hit, and LSU's not going to use its top-end guys, I don't think. Tonight there are some guys that are probably not going to be available. I'd be surprised if Zach Cowan's available. Kason Evans is not available for a long time, and certainly you're not going to use your starters. So it'll be the middle of LSU's bullpen. We'll see if the Privateers can swing the bats a little bit tonight. I don't have many doubt that LSU will. So, Sharief, we appreciate the time. We'll do it again next week.
All right, please tell me Saturday and Sunday pitchers will be fine after watching them this past weekend.
I can't promise you, but I feel okay about it. We'll see. Texas can hit. We'll find out a lot this weekend in Austin.
All right, Hunt.
Sharief Ishaq, WDSU down there in New Orleans. We'll take one more time out, come back, and close it. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, closet space is maybe not something you consider every single day, but there may be somebody under your roof that does. It certainly was the case with me in the house that Alyssa and I lived in. And initially, we did not have a lot of closet space. I didn't really care that much. And then she moved in and she was like, this is not going to work. And we had coats and closets down the hall. We had other bedrooms full of clothes. It just, there was some up in the attic. It was bad. And so when we decided to move, instead of call David Duvall One Bath and Closets, we prioritized closet space. Now we do have ample space, and it's made a huge difference. She's a lot happier. If you don't want to move and you want to get that happiness, David Duvall and his team can do it. They can create you a new closet. They're a licensed contractor. They can make that happen for you. But if you kind of have some space but you'd like to use it more efficiently, they can come in and create that customized for you. I can promise you this. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find all of their work. You can find the testimonials from their satisfied customers, and you can get that free consultation today at onebathandclosets.com. Onebathandclosets.com.
Welcome back to the Hunt Palmer Show. Here's your host, Hunt, the uniform czar, Palmer. Which uniform do you hate now?
The VEX European Bracket Challenge is now underway. Head over to LouisianaSports.net now to get your picks in before the first game begins March 20th. That is just 2 days from now. The most accurate picks take home the grand prize of $1,000. The VEX European Bracket Challenge powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Fun show. Got a lot that we have covered over the last 2 hours. We got a ton to do tomorrow as well. Of course, we will do the things that we generally do on Wednesdays. That's Koki Riley at 1:15. We'll talk. We'll do What If Wednesday. Matthew Bruni's going to come talk about the LSU women as they get ready for the NCAA tournament this weekend and Messi baseball power rankings. So tons to do on Wednesday's show. We've had a lot of fun here on this Tuesday. I want to remind you to come out to Sports Trivia tonight at Pizza by Roan's. 8 o'clock at Pizza by Roan's. You can win gift cards, eat some pizza, we'll watch some hoops. It's generally a lot of fun. So if you haven't ever come, I invite you to come on out. 8 o'clock, Pizza by Roan's. We'll have you out of there by about 9:30 on this Tuesday. Looking forward to that this evening. One more order of business on this show. That is, of course, Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, first one here. The Cubs are going 0-162. Take it or leave it.
I will leave it.
Leave it alone.
If they played the Dodgers, they'd lose 105.
Probably.
But they don't play the Dodgers very much.
No, they don't.
They play them one more time in Tokyo. Then they play them in Wrigley in a couple weeks. And then I think they've got one more with them, which is quickly after that in Dodger Stadium. And then they're done. And I hear all the time, well, it's good to get them out of the way. Well, it's not good to get them out of the way if you lose all the games.
No, it's not.
You've got to figure out a way to do something. We'll see what my guy Justin Steele can do at 5:10 tomorrow morning. I'll be locked in. I'll put my Cubs shirt on tomorrow morning. I did not do that this morning. We'll make that happen.
That's why they lost, hon. I don't know if you really thought about that.
I didn't want to get vomited on.
It's okay. You have a washing machine. It'll clean it out.
I don't want him to puke on my Cubs shirt. I like my Cubs shirt.
Fine. We can wash it, okay? It's gonna be all right if you get a little bit of throw up on it. It's fine.
I've got one white shirt that he threw up, or that Myers threw up on a couple years ago, and now I can't ever wear it unless I put a quarter zip on over it. Which is why winter's great. I can wear a bunch of stained shirts. Nobody knows.
That's true.
Does anyone else do that? Do you do that?
I don't have a lot of stained shirts, but yet at least, yeah, of course. That's a caveat. But yeah, there's no problem with wearing a sweater over it.
It's like George in the Seinfeld. He's got the chocolate stain all over his shirt. So that's good. Wear it under sweaters and stuff.
Yeah. All right, next one here. Shohei Ohtani said he was nervous playing in Tokyo as the Dodgers won. I think he went 2 for 5, 2 hits,
and
scored twice.
I wish he was sick too.
Yeah,
the whole team's sick.
Yeah, Shohei being nervous. Take it or leave it.
I'm gonna leave. I need Mookie Betts to go make out with Shohei Ohtani. That's what I need. I need the illness transferred over to Shohei.
That's not a great image.
I'm trying to win a baseball game back here. I don't care about the image. I need Shohei sick, out of commission. Mookie sick, get Shohei sick.
Okay.
They need to be sharing needles. Is that what I need to say?
I mean, I don't know if that's any better. That's probably worse, actually. All right, next one here. Cam Hayward, Steelers stalwart, been there for 15 years.
T-Bob's young teammate.
Yes, of course. Said, he's not really into this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. He said he's not going on a darkness retreat. And he says, I don't need any of that crap. Either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. It's that simple. Aaron Rodgers stringing along the Steelers. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's stringing along everybody. He's basically Brett Favre just brought back. If he goes to the Vikings could use him.
The Vikings, yeah.
I mean, they've got a quarterback they took in the first round last year, but that would be the Brett Favre trajectory. Exactly.
Be nice.
Go the Packers over to the Jets, then to the Vikings. I mean, look, that's just kind of what he does. Darkness retreat. I'm out on darkness retreats too. If it's something that you would like to do, that's great. I'm not going to disparage you in any way. I've got friends that go on silent retreats every year. It's just not my thing. I would go absolutely bananas if LSU was playing a baseball game and I had no way to access how they were doing. I would lose my mind. And that is an issue. I realize it's a me problem. I should be better than that. I'm not better than that.
You're not.
That is what I am.
You are.
I need to know what the score is. I really like to watch.
You
and
are
if
what
you
your
got me
record
locked
says
in
you
a
are.
closet somewhere and I can't, then I don't like that. So we're not going to do it.
How about this? SEC aficionado Hunt Palmer taking Duke to win it all in the big dance. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
I mean, I realize this doesn't help my cause in trying to win the bracket challenge, but I went through my bracket. The whole thing took less than 3 minutes for sure. And I ended up with 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. I didn't even mean to do that. It just happened. And then we ended up with Duke and who's on the other side?
I don't know. I don't know who. I didn't see your bracket.
I knew that Duke was my best chance to keep the SEC teams off the podium.
Yeah.
Maybe Houston. I just don't know that I can trust Houston to score enough points.
How about this, Hunt? I got the Johnny St. John's going all the way.
That's absurd.
Rick Pitino, Hunt.
That's how you don't win the office pool because they're never going to win.
Oh yeah, they're never going to win.
They have a great coach, but they're not good enough.
It's okay. They have a really good team, Hunt. They've got plenty of quad 1 wins. All right. They're
plenty
good.
of quad 1 wins. North Carolina does it in their instant.
No, they don't.
That's it for us. Missed any of the show, catch it on demand. Matt's going to drive you home coming up on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer.